Wembanyama's brilliance has NBA execs searching for his kryptonite. It appears to be Giannis. Listen, very few players in the history of basketball change things. Like Michael Jordan went from a center league to a wing league. Steph Curry, new type of basketball. LeBron James, literally changed how players viewed mobility. There's a lot of guys that fill a stat sheet and make all-star teams. James Harden. Jason Tatum, everybody's like, oh, face of the league. Nobody's changing how they draft for Jason Tatum. He's just a really, really great player. Wemby is literally had a good half against Oklahoma City, and I think everybody in the league was like, uh-oh, we got to change how we view the world. And Jim Jackson says, you think he's good now?
He's just now learning how really to play. His body, he gets bumped. He's off balance at times. His body has not caught up with his skill set yet. Give him 2 to 3 years. I'm not saying he has to put on weight. He's going to physically mature, okay? And now you're not going to be able to bump him as much. Move him off his spots. Get up underneath him. A lot like when Dirk got in the league. I remember guarding Dirk when I was in Sacramento. This is 2002. I could get up into Dirk and move him off his spots. 2 to 3 years later, that wasn't happening.
Yeah, so, Rudy Gobert isn't athletic enough. Embiid's never healthy enough. Chet Holmgren's not strong enough. And the rest of the NBA is not tall enough. So, like Giannis, we just had Antonio Daniels on. Like, Giannis is it. That's what you got.
Yeah. The notion that there's some kind of kryptonite out there for Wembanyama is ridiculous. And to say it's Giannis, this is exactly why I always take issue when people praise Giannis in certain ways, because there are simply levels to this. Giannis is physically gifted, yes. His size, his strength, all of that. That's what makes him great. But in terms of pure, raw basketball talent? That's not it. If you shrunk Giannis down to 6 feet 5 inches, I don't know if he's even in the NBA. Shrink Wembanyama to 6 feet 5 inches, and he's still in the league, and he's balling. To me, that has always been the difference, when a player is able to just use and leverage his size, strength, and other physical tools more than actual skill itself. And Giannis, not Giannis, Wembanyama is the marriage of those two things. Before I go any further, San Antonio Spurs fans, please don't forget to subscribe and watch the full-length video. When you do that, the view counts go through the roof, and the subscriber numbers go through the roof. And it's not about chasing either one. It's about being able to create Spurs content that people genuinely want to watch and engage with, so we can keep having the most unbiased, grounded, honest discussions about this team. So please consider doing that, it really makes a huge difference. But there is no kryptonite out there. And this is what I've been screaming, just like Jim said, guys, he is years away from being the best version of himself. This is the worst version of Wembanyama we will ever see. The worst version. And actually, just wait until he gets better farther from the basket. This is why I've also said he should be studying a lot of Kevin Durant. Now, they're different players, different size, different skill sets, and so on. I'm not telling him to become a taller version of KD. And it's not that I want him to favor playing away from the rim. But when he can unlock, I don't even want to just say mid-range game, but let's simplify as much as possible, when he can just get higher percentage shot selection farther from the basket, whatever that looks like, whether it's threes or more traditional mid-range jumpers, that opens things up in ways that will be genuinely difficult to comprehend. Just like how Stephen Curry opens everything up because he can shoot from such extreme range. And as soon as a taller player, or any player, for that matter, starts to develop a three-point shot, and they can no longer just be abandoned, no longer be given all the space in the world, it fundamentally changes how defenses have to deal with you. And it doesn't even have to be perfect. If you're a player who's just a bad shooter, take Draymond Green, for example, teams will literally let you shoot that shot all day. Wembanyama doesn't have to become Steph Curry. He doesn't have to become, a 40% shooter from deep. If he just becomes more functional, where teams aren't willing to completely give up that shot because, okay, he won't make it at Steph's rate, but he'll still make it enough that we have to respect it, that alone changes everything. That's all Wembanyama needs to continue refining, some of those other jumpers, from the free throw line and so on. And again, it's not that I want to see him abandon the other aspects, because that's where you go wrong with Embiid. Embiid is a monster down low, and he can shoot the three, he can create shots from the top of the key, etc., but then he relies on that too much, and you think, get under the basket, get higher percentage shots. So it just needs to be more balanced. It needs to be more leveraged as a threat. Honestly, compare it to Patrick Mahomes. In our minds, Mahomes is an absolute, bona fide, elite dual-threat quarterback. And he is. But he doesn't use his legs the way Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, or Jalen Hurts do. When you look at how Mahomes uses his legs, it's just a threat. It's his ability to buy some time. It's not the same thing we see with Lamar, Josh, or even Kyler Murray, for that matter. It's different. It's the constant threat of it, the sense of you don't want to leave this door open for me, because I will take it if I need to, if it's available. But if not, I'll still throw a 65-yard strike downfield. And to me, that's the kind of balance I'm looking for with Wembanyama. It's like, yeah, he can shoot all the threes, he can do the mid-range, he can create shots, all that stuff. But that's not the foundation. It's the constant threat of all of it. And therefore, defenses just don't know what to do. I'll keep comparing it to football because it works perfectly. It's what Lamar Jackson can do at times. There are always moments in a game where he gets a defense caught in between. He's rolling out to his right, and they're thinking, if I close out on you, you do a nice little dump off to a tight end for 10 or 15 yards. If I stay back on the tight end, you have the speed to just run and pick up 10 yards or more. And you see that moment when a defense goes, what do we do? What do we do? And you just get caught. Lamar is so good at using that to his advantage. So is Mahomes. But Lamar definitely has that ability where if you make the wrong move, he's off to the races. I want to see Wembanyama get better at those types of moments. We actually saw a different version of what I'm discussing. Defensively, Wembanyama got trapped in that exact situation. I think it was against Chet Holmgren for a corner three, and that's why SGA ended up with a walk-in layup. A great play by OKC, but a terrible situation for San Antonio to give up such an open layup. Wembanyama was trapped. If I help, wide open three. If I stay back, wide open layup. You're just like, what do I do? Wembanyama will have the ability to do that himself, not even just as an individual play. Just imagine if Stephen Curry was exactly the same player he is, but he was 2 inches taller and 20 to 30 pounds more muscular, and he could get to the basket more reliably, physically, muscle up, he would be the most unstoppable player in history. There would be no way to balance that defense. If you give him space, he knocks down a three. If you try to close out, he goes right past you. That becomes the true definition of unstoppable. Wembanyama has the ability to become that version of himself. And the beautiful thing is, because he's so tall, because he's so physically gifted, he doesn't necessarily have to be elite at any one thing. If he just ends up being great at everything, or even just good at everything, that combination alone makes him elite. It makes him unstoppable. There are some players, like Steph Curry, who need to be elite at threes to be truly special. If he's not, he's still a great player, really good, can knock down shots, can do stuff, but he's not the Steph Curry. With Wembanyama, I feel like if he's just good at everything and becomes a very well-rounded player, that together makes him elite and unstoppable. Not to say he shouldn't also try to become elite at specific things. But there's still so much more to develop in his game. And he's even said it himself, I still have a lot to learn. Hearing your superstar player say that should probably excite you more than anything, because that's him saying, yeah, there's still so much I need to work on. There's so much more I need to develop. I'm not even close to where I want to be. So throughout watching these playoffs, it really clicked for me, I want him to watch more LM of Kevin Durant, just to see some of the things he can pick up on, some of the things he can learn. Again, to be very clear, I'm not saying mimic or mirror his game, he's going to be a different type of player. But there's still a lot to learn there. Just like Kobe did with Jordan. And once he starts to develop that aspect, it's officially game over. It really is. So I'm curious how this game unfolds. Obviously, you want to see Wembanyama have a big game. But here's the thing, at this point in his career, this is how it should be. He's not the player you want to see just insert himself and impose his will. That's not his game right now. The game still very much needs to unfold and come to him. And that's still important. That's why there is a fragility, and I mean that word very loosely. There can be a fragility, And that's where a level of resiliency comes in with players like KD or LeBron, where those guys can get theirs no matter what, and it's not just about shot creation. I think Colin said in the Minnesota series that Wembanyama can't create his own shots. That's not what it is. I reject that. Wembanyama is at his best when the game is able to unfold naturally, rather than forcing okay, let's get him going early. That to me is not necessarily the right play either. Those are just slightly different conversations and different ways to look at it. So it makes it a little harder to predict how Game 3 unfolds specifically with Wembanyama. Also, I don't even know who's PL-ing at the time of making this video. I don't know who's officially on the court. I think Harper is going to warm up, and it's going to be a game-time decision. I haven't heard anything else on De'Aaron Fox, so if you guys have, definitely let me know in the comments. But this game matters big time. Winning this game matters big time. I don't try to overreact to wins and losses in a 7-game series, but this game, considering how Game 1 unfolded and then Game 2, if you're a Spurs fan, listen, if they lose, you can still say, okay, we've got another game at home, we could tie the series, and that's all fair. But I think a win here puts the Spurs, not even just from a win-loss perspective, back to feeling like they're in control. I keep talking about dictating the terms and conditions of each game. San Antonio dictated terms in Game 1. OKC dictated terms in Game 2. And when you have that situation, and you go into Game 3, if OKC dictates terms again, you do start to wonder, can you control the game again? Can you reinsert yourself as the one controlling how these games unfold? It becomes a situation where one team controls 2 out of 3 games. It might sound like a silly talking point, but you feel it in the locker room. You feel it on the court. You feel it as a player, as a bench player watching the starters. You feel it as a fan. I always say this, especially on the football channel, the thoughts and feelings you feel as a fan watching, that's how the players are feeling. G2. For a team that's younger than OKC, because OKC is more resilient, they've been there, they've won, they have more experience, San Antonio is learning in real time. So there's an overall fragility. And again, I'm using those words incredibly loosely, so don't come at me saying you're calling Wembanyama fragile, the Spurs fragile. That's not what I'm saying. It can't be any clearer. It's all on a spectrum. But the more experienced team, the deeper team, has deeper resiliency. They've been there. They know what it is. We saw that with the Warriors for so many years, especially in their prime. They had so many games where they were down by 18 or 20, and it didn't matter. Nobody batted an eye because they were like, yeah, we're good. Same thing with the Chiefs in their prime. Whatever. No panic. No issues. The Spurs are in the process of trying to develop that. We're watching them try to develop that in real time. So I think going up 2-1 is so much more important for San Antonio than it would be for OKC. And going down 2-1, doubt starts to creep in for a young team. You start to feel uncomfortable. You start looking for answers. You start thinking, wow, if Harper's not here and Fox isn't here, what chance do we have? Things start to spiral faster than you'd want them to. So I'm really curious to see how San Antonio comes out, and whether they put themselves in a position to dictate the terms of this game. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you all think about San Antonio, about Wembanyama, about the kryptonite supposedly out there according to some random anonymous NBA GM, whatever that even means at this point? Let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment, whether you agree with me or disagree. Either way, let's get into some discussions, get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd love to see you be part of it. I want to build something we all genuinely feel connected to. Something we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.